And we are live. Hey guys, this is Ruben from Dub's podcast Connection Loop, and I'm on with Nina for Reap. And Nina and I think we connected through a mutual contact, Paul, in fact. So a little shout out to Paul. You know who you are. Talk to me about video marketing. You've been in this for what, 20 plus years?
Yeah, I mean, in one form or another, I've been in film and video production for over 20, quite a bit over 23 years, actually. My business is 23 years old. So, yeah, it's been forever, and it's changed so much, right? So I've seen pretty much everything and experienced pretty much everything. So yeah.
So what is the journey been like to go from a filmmaker to a video marketer and that whole process?
That actually was a really interesting pivot, because you would think that for a filmmaker to become a video marketer, it's kind of, a no-brainer. But 5 years ago, when I realized that I needed video to promote myself, not create videos for my clients, I found myself really stuck, because obviously as a small business owner, I didn't have, a big budget to hire a crew and have editors and all that kind of stuff. I just had to create something myself. And yeah, I went to film school, but that was way, way, way back. So I just had to teach myself how to shoot. I had to teach myself what works and what doesn't work with online marketing. And I had to teach myself again how to edit, because the last time I edited was with the Revis Splicer and with a sharp knife, of which I still have the scars to show you from editing with a razor blade. It was exactly. So, completely different environment. And so I really set out to create videos for myself, and sort of went through that process, as if I was a small business owner or an entrepreneur who didn't have any video background, because I had to do it all myself. And of course, my learning curve was very quick and very steep, because I did have a background as film producer and as director. And then it just took some tinkering to figure out what works, what doesn't work, where is it worth it to sink your time into, where are you completely and totally wasting your time. And even today, I mean, the landscape is just constantly evolving and changing so fast that you just have to keep at it and make sure that you don't lose touch with what's going on.
Now, there's this theme that I think that you really evangelize, which is being consistent. Mm-hmm. And I totally agree with you. I think it's so important. I think that so many people, they start doing something and then they drop off, and then they start doing something else and then they drop off. What has been your experience with consistency, and how can you recommend that people actually improve their overall consistency?
I mean, so consistency, obviously, it's not just video, it's everything in life, right? So as far as video marketing goes, I myself didn't get consistent until I didn't start running video challenges for clients, and I actually participated in them myself. So these are month-long affairs where we post Monday through Friday every day. And then we comment on each other's videos, etc., to also give us a boost. So it's sort of a dual purpose thing.
And where do you do this exactly?
So wherever, like, my participants can post wherever they want, as long as they can have, and pardon my dog in the background.
Oh, we love dogs.
No. So, I let my people post wherever they want to post. I personally live on LinkedIn. It's my digital home. A lot of my participants are on LinkedIn as well, because that's where I find my clients. But I have had participants who are big into Instagram, Facebook. Those are probably sort of the three main places where videos get posted.
So this is almost like an accountability group of some sort, or like a
yeah.
And then where do you guys kind of hang out? Is there like a group that you guys used, or where's the collaboration?
So talking of Paul, I basically copied his model and did a copy paste of his organizational setup as he has it on Slack.
And this is Paul Higgins.
This is Paul Higgins from
Build, Live, Give.
Yep, yeah, exactly. I've been a member of his pod since November of 2019, and I thought the way it was set up was brilliant. It was easy, it was very well organized, and it was simple, and those were all the things I was looking for. So basically what I'm doing with these challenges is I'm taking people to, they are accountable to posting every day. If they don't post, they will hear from me. And it's also much more and much more beyond that. It is that group feeling, and that we do weekly calls. So not only are you posting your own videos and seeing everybody else's content, you're also bonding sort of in your misery of having to post every day,
Yeah.
in a weekly group call, where I teach a little bit, but it really, for me, it is about talking about what worked, what didn't work. Where are you with your level of freak out over the challenge? Because a whole month will bubble up anything that is holding you back in real life with doing video. A month is a long time. It's 4 full weeks, sometimes a couple of extra days, and you have to post that video every single day. I give people until 5 p.m. Eastern Standard. And then, on top of that, you're also commenting on everybody else's videos. So you're actually seeing what other people are doing. And that creates sort of, like, don't want to use the word rat race, but it's kind of, it's like, ooh,
It's
so
maybe a collaborative or competitive
yeah,
environment. Maybe
yeah,
not competitive,
yeah,
but
yeah.
inspirational.
Inspirational, yeah.
Yeah.
And I've had some really diverse groups, which some people like, some people don't, but I love the diversity, because then you get to see really different not only levels of skill set. Like in my first group, I had two phenomenal, like, people who just had it down pat, and they just wanted the accountability. And I had complete beginners who were struggling just to get a video out a week, but they kept at it, and they tried. And by the end, I had people, those people also started posting daily. So, as long as you're learning something and you're moving the needle, I don't care whether you're starting from scratch or whether you're already accomplished. So,
Got it.
you know,
And it's interesting because this idea of a little cohort or a pod or a group of creators that are putting stuff and material out there, and that are kind of collaborating, getting feedback, getting support. That makes a lot of sense. I mean, it's not easy. It's not easy putting content out there, especially when you're on a consistent, frequent basis. I know that first and
yeah.
foremost, because I'm out there a lot and I'm doing stuff. Now, I'm not part of a pod per se. I've never done something like that, but I kind of am, because I notice it's the same 20 people, and I'm always looking to support them. If they're putting a post out there, I always try to like, comment, share, whatever it is that I can do, something authentic. I don't do it just to do it. I do it because I want to.
Yeah.
I spend at least, I don't know, I spend probably at least 30 to 60 minutes a day on LinkedIn,
Yeah.
just consuming content, not even posting. And then posting is another half an hour maybe.
Yeah.
So it's a thing. I mean, what is your sort of your best kind of advice for people that want to get started into creating content, putting it on LinkedIn or any social channel for that matter?
So I think consistency, as we started the conversation with the word consistency is key. So I'd rather have you put out a not perfect video than not putting out a video at all. And for instance, I've started dabbling with what I'm calling the naked video series, where only the video is naked. And I actually record those with dub, because it's quick and easy, and I have that little countdown clock. So since the naked video series does not get edited at all, I want to keep my video production to an absolute minimum, because I'm doing it daily. So I record it with dub, and then I just upload it as it is. I create a thumbnail, I create a closed captioning file, and it goes up on LinkedIn like that. So I can bring my production time, including thinking about what I want to say, recording it, and uploading it. That is like now a 25 to 30-minute cycle. Most time is being spent trying to get a decent video off the ground, recorded, right? So, and that is for, if you want to be consistent, you have to make your life easy and not bog yourself down with massive equipment and a big setup and all those things that make it a reason not to do it. And the other advice I would have is batch produce. So if you have content that you can produce like, a week's worth every Sunday night or every Monday morning or whenever it is, shoot those 5 videos so you have them. And that works really well for most people. However, in the current political climate, it has happened more than once to me since March of this year, 2023, 2020 that I've had to pull content because either it was tone deaf because of COVID, it was tone deaf because of Black Lives Matter. So you do have to have that kind of flexibility as a layer on top if you are posting daily, because you can't just tone deafly put out whatever.
I used to do that a lot more, and I actually miss it. I miss doing that. I used to spend a day, probably a week, where I would explore 10 topics, and I would get so much content produced, and I would just get into the flow. One of the things that actually really helped me was when I was in a co-working space. We had an office at WeWork,
Yep.
and we kind of float throughout the space, and there's different locations, and it was kind of interesting, and it didn't feel drab or boring.
Yeah.
And I have to admit that I kind of miss that. What would you say for me to kind of get back into that? How can I sort of reactivate myself to get into that flow?
I mean, I can only tell you what works for me and what I seek work for my clients. And interesting enough is the more I am on LinkedIn, the more I interact with other people, the more I look at other people's videos, the more content I have. And either I'm being inspired by something somebody else says, which I know I can bring back that topic to the question of, how to harness video marketing, or I'll find some questions in my comments where I'm like, oh great, this person has a new question that no one has ever asked me before. Let's make a video about that, or let's make a post about that. So by being out there, whether I think it's physical and you're perusing the hallways of WeWork, or whether you are perusing the postings of your peeps on LinkedIn, it's more or less the same thing. You're just getting inspiration from what the conversation is currently. And currently the conversation is on digital media and not around the water cooler. But it's pretty much the same thing. And then I think, any curious person, I mean, I was last week when I finally found my voice again after I went silent for a week. And then I started posting last week about, the power of video and how without video, we would never have seen, what we're seeing with the protesters going on right now. Without the power of video, we wouldn't have the voice to help affect change that is desperately needed in this country. So, it took me a moment, but, again, I talk about video marketing. That's my thing. And that's where I can bring value to the conversation. So let me take what's going on in today's world and bring it back, So be it that dub in your case is being used for people to organize themselves, to leave messages, this year, it's also an election year. We haven't even talked about the election yet, where it already feels like we've lived 3 centuries in this 1.5 a year.
Right.
Who is reaching out, to voters? Do it with dub. What better? Just you're writing people's message on LinkedIn, and I'm not big on Facebook, but I know for LinkedIn, it's a great way to get into people's inbox like that with video. So,
well, it's interesting that you should say that, because one of the things that I'd say one of the most challenging things for us is this idea of branching out into new audiences. We by now know which of the audiences work really well for Dub, where they hear about us, they sign up, they start to use it, they see some success. But there are some other industries and sort of use cases or groups where we might have a similar success, but it's challenging to break through.
Yep.
Because maybe they're using less video as overall, or maybe they're just less present. Maybe it's more legacy based. There's a couple of industries that come to mind for me. But what would just to put you on the spot here and to get some free advice?
Yep.
How do you think a company can break into new industries?
I mean, what probably one of the best ways to do it is to just do, and thanks for putting me on the spot, by the way,
Yeah.
um, is I,
Hey, you're a New Yorker, so you know.
well, and I'm a producer, so I know how
Yeah.
to think on my feet. So, I mean, the old fashioned way to do it is to do a case study, right?
Oh, nice.
Get somebody, like if you want to break into realtors, get a couple of your realtor buddies, offer them something or everything for free, and do a kick ass, case study with them where they use your service. Um, and then I think that is replicable, for any vertical, right? You can use that with the lawyers, you can use that with dentists, whatever. I think, and that is actually something I on purpose shy away with in terms of who my perfect client avatar is. The education element to convince someone who's not yet convinced that video is the way to go. And I think after this COVID, disaster, if anybody is not convinced that video is the way to go, I don't know on the what rock they've been hiding. Um, but for me as a small business owner, the energy and the input that I need to create to convince somebody that is not convinced yet to use video, and that video is in effect something that will be useful to them, I don't do that. The people I work with come to me because they know that video is good for them. They know they need to use it if they want to survive as a small business owner. And they have tried it and they have miserably failed at it, or they're not only doing it sort of half-assed, and they want a leg up, because those are the people who come to me who see the value in what I can offer them. And I think that's why I mentioned realtors at first, because realtors are one of the first adapters in the industry of video, only that they use it for the listings, not necessarily for themselves.
Yeah.
And the young realtors that are up and coming, they're all on Instagram. And I mean, I think realtors would be a perfect match for something like Dub. I mean, that would be, to me, a total no-brainer.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. That's actually a big part of our segment is real estate agents. In fact, one of the stories behind Dub is that it's a love story, and that my wife is a real estate agent, and watching her door knock and watching her getting her career started, and the trials and tribulations of a real estate agent trying to just build up an early book of business where you don't necessarily want to go and bother your sphere of influence and call friends and family, because not everyone in real estate, they say to do that. In fact, in a lot of industries where it's more B2C and it's kind of a broad product or service that you're selling, they say go to your sphere of influence, go to your friends, go to your family, try to get your first customers there. And I respect people that don't necessarily want to do that, because it's sometimes annoying, and you become that annoying person on Facebook and Instagram and just at parties where you're just trying to hustle something. And sometimes that proof of concept and that really difficult journey of finding people out in the wild that don't know about you is better data. And obviously using video is a great way to kind of jump ahead of a lot of your competitors. You know?
Yeah, and I think what I'm hoping is, and I mean, I'm seeing it with my growth numbers in the last 3 months, is a lot of people are feeling a lot more comfortable being on Zoom and being on conference calls all day. So I think there's actually really I think that's a big opening for people like you and me to grab all of those laggards that didn't see the value of video, or completely freaked out. And that's something I hear a lot as an objective, is like people are really afraid to be on camera, to look bad, number one, to sound bad. They don't want to deal with editing themselves because they think it's just awkward. And they also feel that there's sort of a permanence around video that makes them very nervous. And I always tell my clients, it's like these videos that we create for social media, they're like a tissue. It's a one-way affair. They just like, sneeze, throw out, sneeze, throw out. You bring your video every day.
But not on YouTube.
Well, but YouTube is a different thing. It's a different animals. To me, YouTube, I mean, and I'm by no means a YouTube expert, just have that be said loud and clear. But to me, YouTube is a search engine first and foremost. And like I use it as a depository. So everything that I produce gets, unless it's like terrible. I dump it on YouTube. I put it into playlists. So when a client has a specific need, question, whatever, I can say, oh, this playlist is perfect for you. And I'm also using Vimeo for that matter, and actually using Vimeo more and more just because it's I can control what it looks like, and I don't get the cute dog videos playing after, which you
Yeah.
inevitably get suckered into.
Yeah.
At least I do as a dog owner. For me, Vimeo YouTube is a completely different animal.
Yeah, that makes sense. The way that I kind of look at this is YouTube for me is it's like a mecca. It's just this amazing place for marketing and for original content, but I think it's the most challenging
No.
because if you're consistent on LinkedIn, and I think that you've already seen the success for this, you're going to see results. You're going to see a brand lift. You're going to see people reaching out to you. You're going to see a network effect. It's powerful and it works, and it's not immediate, but it's near immediate. And to your point, it's like tissue. It's very ephemeral. It comes, it goes, and if you don't stay consistent, which is your major thesis, then it's sort of like, don't do it. Whereas with YouTube, not only do you have to be it's almost like you're sprinting a marathon, and not only do you have to be consistent, you have to also be entertaining, and you also have to create a massive body of work because it's episodic in nature. It's long form. LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram might be 60 seconds to 2-3 minutes. YouTube likes 6 to 12-minute videos. I mean, look at if you look at the top 10, 20 trending videos on YouTube right now, they're pretty much all are long form. So it's very challenging, and we are going through that process. We have a channel called the Daily Dub on YouTube, and we have a lot of fun with it. But every week or two, we kind of rethink about it, and we sometimes I have some trepidation, some not exactly knowing where the journey goes, but consistency. To your point, it's relevant for all social networks.
So are you actually getting clients in through your YouTube channel?
We actually see our traffic. When we look at our traffic, it's kind of diverse, but a lot of it comes from our blog, which is largely fueled by video. And that's one of the things that I'm kind of proud of, because it's this idea of writing is powerful, and search engines love writing. Google loves blog posts, but it's difficult to write them and to come up with topics. And sometimes you can't do it with the distractions that are happening. Unless you're a writer that's heads down, it's very difficult to be focused. Whereas with video, I'm fully present in this conversation right now with you, and I'm learning from you. And this is a perfect example of a video that can then catalyze, could be converted, repurposed into a blog post. And that's a lot of what we do. So blog, YouTube, our support channel, some advertisement, we kind of keep it diverse. Our affiliate program is a big part of Dub, since we pay, recurring commission. So it's a fun process.
Yeah. And I mean, as you said, repurposing is so hugely important. So, in order to get to 5 times a day, God forbid.
I've done that before. It's exhausting.
I think 5 times a week is enough. But what I've been doing, like you like the Naked video series, right? You start like looking for shortcuts, or I don't even want to call them shortcuts. You're looking for creative ways to create video without driving yourself, absolutely bonkers. So I've started doing, like, in the beginning when I did the video challenges, I would ask every member of the challenge to give me a testimonial after, and I bring them on a Zoom call and we'll talk. And then I would edit this very elaborate, cut it down to 3 really succinct, beautiful minutes. And I did that like 10 times. And after 10 times, I'm like, I'm such an idiot. Why not, instead of like spending all this time on making it a cohesive story and using 4 or 5 quotes why not just make 4 or 5 single videos, each one quote? And so with the last challenge, that's what I did. And now I have a library of unused, I think 25 videos that I'm going to be able to just sprinkle throughout my social media, as I go in the next couple of months. So if I have an off day, or, something that didn't work out, I have a library of videos to use.
That's very cool. What does naked videos mean?
Okay. So I was attempting to create a way to quickly create videos, and we talked earlier about it. So, which I'm using Dub. And the idea was that the naked actually came originally from my face. I didn't want to bother with makeup and hair and all that stuff, right? But then I'm like, actually, the real time sync is not putting on some mascara and brushing my hair. The real time sync is the editing and all the schnick schnack around that. So my naked video series, my introduction to that is this, welcome to the naked video series, where the only thing naked is the video. So the video is without graphics. That's a long way to say the video is without graphics. It's naked.
Okay.
So in the beginning, I just posted the video, which was, your thumbnail would have just been what you're seeing right now here. And then I realized that on LinkedIn, and as well as on social media, obviously, on YouTube, the video needs to pop. So I made the concession to create the thumbnail. And then I took it a step further and created the concession to create a closed captioning file.
Oh, I see. And then what is the process that you use for that?
Closed captioning. So it's still a two-step process. I know you have closed captioning built in on Dub, which is amazing. But I'm uploading my videos natively and into LinkedIn. And from what I understand, I lose the SRT at that point. So I upload it to a thing called otter.ai.
Oh, yeah.
It transcribes it for me. It's machine transcribed, but it does a really good job. And then I just download it from there. And then with LinkedIn, I don't have to marry the two, the video and the closed captioning file. I can upload them separately. So that means I can circumvent editing. So when I upload to LinkedIn, I always have 3 files I'm uploading. I'm uploading the video, I'm uploading the thumbnail, I'm uploading the SRT file.
That's such a great workflow. I'm fans of otter.ai. We've used Amazon Transcribe, and then we've used rev.com.
I love Rev, and then because it's manually transcribed.
Well, they have both. Yeah, they have both. Yeah.
And on the manual, which I really loved, but then I got a couple of videos in back to back that were not perfect. I'm like, okay, if I have to go and check on it anyway, then I might as well go with a machine, and Daughter AI is so inexpensive. I mean, you can't beat it. So
yeah, it's really good. Yeah, we actually, what we built on Dub was we wanted kind of a couple of specific use cases. Number one was the ability to create the SRT file for the videos being played on a Dub action video page. And then the second use case is the ability to download an SRT for Facebook, for LinkedIn, for YouTube. And that works nicely. But the third one is kind of a unique one, which I'm yet to see, at least in the way that we do it, not to talk about our own stuff, but it's the ability to download a video into a stripped down, clean text format. And that just means that it's a blog post. So now what we're doing is we're taking video content. So imagine those videos that you're producing and creating, get the closed captionings, download them as text files, and then post a blog about that. And you've got 90% of the content developed. Now you're gonna have to go back in and make some changes, make some updates,
and clean it up a bit. So basically, and that's what I do when I export from Otter AI. I always export my SRT file and my doc file.
Oh, nice.
So I just have and I'm very, very precise. I'm Swiss by birth, so just by design. So I'm very precise about things. So I do like save them always everything together, so they have the exact same name. So it's like video ABC, the video ABC, the thumbnail, the SRT file, and the transcript. So I keep those together. And when I do upload to YouTube and Vimeo, I also upload a transcript. To make searching easier. Although I hear now that's not necessary anymore, that web crawlers can also search audio. I don't know whether that's true, but somebody...
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I've noticed some updates around that. It seems like that's the trend. Makes sense, yeah.
So just follow-up question. So I can actually indeed download an SRT file on Dub from your videos?
Oh yeah, it's a one click, and then the other thing that you can do is you can download it as an SRT, fix it, and then re-upload it or change it and use it on LinkedIn or whatever. That's how we do it. Yeah. Yeah.
So that saves me the step of going onto Otter AI. Brilliant.
There you go. Yeah, check it out. Love to get your feedback. So here's a little shift in the convo. You mentioned that you're Swiss and that you're precise. Now, I'm a huge fan of Swiss Army knives, both as an analogy and as actually the actual knives. Like ever since I was a kid, I was obsessed with those.
Yep.
And I've always had this question, and I've been to Switzerland a number of times,
Yeah.
and I love the country and I love the people. But my question for you is, where does that precision come from?
That so two things. I think Switzerland has a complete lack of natural resources, right? I mean, we have some cows that run around the Alps, but there's not that many because the Alps are very steep. So I think we always had to focus on things other than producing oil or God knows what, right? So Swiss design, pharmaceuticals, the watch industry.
Yeah.
I mean, all of that, banking, it's all numbers, precision, detail, quality. And these are also, for the most part, qualities you find in Germany. And I think, everybody's staying on top of each other in Europe. And Switzerland sort of being nestled between, the Italian part, and we have an Italian speaking part in Switzerland. We have a French speaking part, and we have a German speaking part. And then there's a fourth part which speaks some ancient Latin dialect, which is where my family's from. So,
And now let me guess, you speak all those languages, right?
all of them but the one that I am from, because it's so archaic. Yeah, but I mean, I used to be fluent in French and Italian. I can hold my own, but I would say I'm conversational at best at this point. But Swiss German, German English, total proficiency and fluency. Yeah. And for being a Swiss person, that's nothing special. So
Right.
yeah, but so I think the bottom line of your question is it's a lack of natural resources, and sort of being at the center of European, between Paris and London and Munich or whatever was big in Vienna, all these like intellectual, Basel being a huge like intellectual hobnob in the old days with having some of the first universities in Europe, period. So I think that there was just a breeding ground for going in rather than out.
Interesting. That makes a lot of sense. I mean, if you don't have a natural resource per se, and the value that you can provide is from labor and products that might be already commoditized. I mean, when I think of a watch, how do you make a watch so valuable? How do you turn a watch into a timepiece?
Yeah, it's precision engineering.
But it's also marketing. I mean, it's one thing to be precise. I mean, some of those like Patek Philippe and Rolex, and the way that they market those is that it's a true timepiece, a true piece of legacy that you hand off generationally. I mean, that's brilliant marketing as well. I mean, a $5,000 or a $50,000 watch it doesn't tell time differently from a
yeah, and at the other spectrum of it, we do have swatches. Switzerland. Watch was invented in Switzerland too,
which is one of the most phenomenally marketed companies. I think Apple has taken so much from Swatch.
Yeah, I'm
from
not
colors and design and
no Swatch. I mean, when Hayek, who his last name gives it away, is not originally Swiss. I think he was from Hungary. And when Hayek came up with the Swatch, I mean, that was such a revolution of making the cheap cool and amazing. And I never forget, as a young person, he would show up and he would have like 3 watches on each arm, and just like it was just like it was breaking all the boundaries of like I mean. Being Swiss, when I turned 30, I never forget, my mother marched me to a jewelry store and bought me a really beautiful watch, because that's what one does. And if one were to be married, one would have gotten that watch from the husband. Now I had to get it from my mother, right? So, or from my parents. So, but that was a tradition, you got that beautiful legacy timepiece that was gonna, be something that you wore for the rest of your life. And that was part of the culture, or is part of the culture.
The word is legacy, and when I think of legacy, and I think of the content that we're creating and the things that we're doing and the help that we're providing people, I think it's absolutely legacy. And I think about a lot of the videos that we do and how they are like leaving a legacy behind. It's like passing off. Maybe it's not giving a watch to your daughter or to your son, but at the same time, it's putting something out there that other people can benefit from, and then they can learn, and then they can share it with someone else. I mean, you have learned stuff from Paul Higgins. I have learned stuff from people like Paul Higgins. I have learned stuff from people like yourself, and then I can then pass it off. I'm always really good about giving attribution. I don't like stealing something and say, "Oh, here's this new thing called naked videos that Ruben Dua invented." I don't do that, and anyone that does, it's just not worth it. So don't do that.
No, I mean, as I said, I think nothing wrong with plagiarizing. You just want to you want to give due where due is due, and
yes,
like what I'm doing with my video challenges. That is definitely. I copied the mechanics of it definitely from Paul, and he knows it. He's done my video challenge actually, so he knows it for sure. But yeah, and I think with legacy, and this is one thing that the people who do video consistently normally want to do video consistently, not only to get new clients, but to leave that legacy and be that thought leader in their respective field of expertise. And I think that is where I really take pride in helping my clients find their voice around that, because that's when it becomes meaningful enough that you will put up with whatever you need to be putting up with in order to produce 5 videos a week, or even if it's just one a week, but it's something that establishes you and puts you into a step beyond the run of the mill. And that's why I mostly work with mission-driven entrepreneurs, because that mission makes them want to, move forward and get that legacy out there. And video is a great way to do it.
I love that. I love how you put that. I think about branding a lot. I think about branding, and there was this idea of branding that I think Seth Godin explained at one point, which is, I think he talked about a hotel. And if Nike had a hotel, what would that hotel look like? Whereas if Hilton made shoes, what would those shoes look like? And it was what your takeaway is supposed to be is that, Nike would have an awesome hotel and that Hilton would have, terrible shoes. And I don't connect to that as I think that's a really I love Seth Godin. I think he's a cool dude. He's got a cool haircut. But
or the lack thereof.
I love how he uses his head it's like iconic. I love that. So shout out to him. But at the same time, I think that branding is not about an experience necessarily, and it's not about something that we see and something that we feel. It's about people now, and it's not about the Nike logo. It's about what Nike is doing for people and the people that are representing Nike and all these great brands, whether it be a hotel company or a shoe company, it doesn't really matter. And I think we all, through video and through communication, through storytelling, and through consistency, to your point, have the ability to be more powerful in branding than I think any large company, because we have a voice, and it's just getting out there, and it's so much more real and authentic,
Yeah. And I mean, we are, and especially if you're a mission-driven entrepreneur, you're a service entrepreneur, in most cases, then you are the brand, and that's what I tell my clients. It's like you are the product as a service provider, so you need to be on video so people know who they're working with. And I'm going to close my window because in a second we're going to have a lot of clapping going on.
Well, let me ask you this. Can you actually show us what that looks like in New York?
A month ago I could have, but people are getting really lazy.
Oh.
And my laptop is actually hardwired because.
Oh, okay.
All right. My internet connection, but
cool.
You will hear my dog barking, so that will be what you're getting.
Well, maybe we'll wrap it here.
Yeah.
What a great convo about
that was
consistency
awesome.
And legacy and just the power of our voice.
Yeah, not to be underestimated, because we all do have a voice, and we need to use it.
Yeah. And then just to give you a shout out, where can people find you on LinkedIn? I know that you've got a couple of great channels.
Yeah, so LinkedIn is where, if you want to meet me, I'm on LinkedIn. That's where I spend my digital life is there. So that's Nina Fareep, Frioriep. And I'm the only one with that name, so no finding somebody else in as a mistake. My website is Clockwise Productions. It is currently undergoing a major rebranding, so I hope that in the next couple of weeks the new website will be up. I for one cannot wait. And then I am on Instagram also as Clockwise Productions, but Instagram, Facebook are, I don't want to say an afterthought, but where if you really want to interact with me, LinkedIn is the place to go.
Cool. And then I've got some links here in the comments for folks to check you out. And I'm psyched that I'm connected with you on LinkedIn, and I look forward to watching your next video, your next naked video. Actually.
Okay, it'll come out soon. At this point.
Right. Cool. Thank you so much, Nina.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. I had a wonderful time talking with you.
Yeah, likewise. Take care.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.